Hey, what is going on, everybody? So this week, the Packers have been pretty busy adding a few different players to this team, and Russell Douglas, the cornerback, as well as Jalen Smith, the linebacker. And it all started off with that potential trade or potential pickup of Stephon Gilmore that was being reported, but unfortunately, the Panthers came in there, swooped him up, decided to trade for him, a 6th-round pick, decided to come in there and get him. And the thinking was that lots of teams wanted Gilmore, but they didn't have the cap space. The Packers were one of the teams where it could have been difficult for them to get him, so the Panthers ended up doing that. So now we have a game coming up on Sunday versus the Cincinnati Bengals. So I just want to go through a little bit of this game, some of the, I'd say, key aspects of this game, give one bold prediction about what I think could go down in this game, and give my score prediction as well. And if you guys have yet to subscribe, you want to see more Packers content, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel down below. So if we take a look at both of these teams are 3-1. The Packers are 3-1. The Bengals are also 3-1. But one thing about the Bengals is if you take a look at all the teams that they have played against, the teams they've played against have a combined record of 2-10. So I'd say there are some of these games, against the Jaguars, against the Bears, against the Vikings, against the Steelers. So maybe not the best competition, but anyways, that's just sort of what has happened so far this season for both these teams. So starting off, I'd say one of the biggest things going to be watching out for in this game, one of the biggest, I'd say, weaknesses for this Packers defense this week is going to be our secondary, just because, the Jair Alexander's shoulder injury that happened last week, it came out today, that at least for right now, he's not going to get surgery. I just made a video on that in the past couple hours breaking down the news that came out from Matt LaFleur, so you can check that out if you want to. But he is going to be out for at least, at least this game, probably the next couple weeks, and hopefully he won't have to have surgery. So I'm just hoping at least by the end of the season, he's back, ready for the playoffs. That's what I'm hoping for. As long as he is healthy, then I think that's all that really matters. But obviously, I want him to be back here as soon as possible, but he is not going to be playing in this game. So that means the Packers will be facing Joe Burrow, and I'd say a pretty solid Bengals offense with Jamar Chase at wide receiver, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. They have a pretty solid group there, and so it's going to be tough, I think, for this Packers secondary to match up with them. Just because when you lose your best cornerback, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, it's just going to, it's going to take a blow to your defense. So we have Eric Stokes there, we have Chandon Sullivan there, Kevin King will be back. But I think this defense could be weak could have a tough time this week against Joe Burrow. If we take a look here at Joe Burrow's stats so far this year, he's had, I'd say, 3 solid games, 1 not so good game. The game against the Bears, he threw 3 interceptions. He threw another pick against the Steelers. But last week versus the Jaguars, he did throw for 348 yards, 2 TDs, 132.8 rating. So he's been pretty solid this season, and they definitely have tons of solid wide receiver weapons over there, especially adding Jamar Chase this offseason. So the fact that we have a rookie out there in Eric Stokes, Kevin King, who has struggled a lot, as most people talk about a lot in the comments, as well as Chandon Sullivan, it's going to be tough for the Packers to match up with these guys. So I think the Bengals could put up some points this week. One thing about the Bengals offense is they may be without Joe Mixon, their running back, who is questionable to play in this game. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But the Packers have gotten better, I'd say, in the past few weeks when it comes to stopping the run. But overall, I think this could be a tough game for the Packers defense. But of course, with the Packers, the defense, at least in the past few years, has usually been the weakness, just because when you have Aaron Rodgers on the offensive side of the ball, you usually put up lots of points. So even if Joe Burrow in this Bengals offense is able to, put up yards, put up points against this Packers secondary, I don't think the Packers need to worry too much, considering we have this offense that has been, one of the best in the past few games. Obviously, week 1, it was a terrible performance, but since then, the Packers have definitely bounced back. Since that time, in the past 3 games, the Packers are the 5th best scoring offense in the NFL, averaging 30.7 points per game. So the Packers offense have gotten back to basically how they were playing last season. And this Packers offense has been that good even though we've been dealing with lots of injuries on the offensive line. I'm honestly surprised at how well this offensive line has done, even though we've been without David Bakhtiari and then Elton Jenkins for a few games. And now this week, I put it out in the last injury video, the final injury report for the Packers this week, that Josh Myers, rookie center, is going to be missing this game with a finger injury. So that definitely hurts the Packers. But it seems that Elton Jenkins should be good to go. Potentially, he is questionable coming into this game. So, the fact that Josh Myers is out, the guy who has been playing at center, there's a few different options. Maybe Elton Jenkins plays center. Maybe Lucas Patrick. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. So lots of injuries on this Packers offensive line. But they've shown so far they're able to hold up. Billy Turner's been good in there. Josh Nijman coming in here to fill in for Elton Jenkins has also been pretty solid. But taking a look at this Bengals pass rush, that right now they are the 25th in pass rush win rate, where the Packers offensive line is 6th in pass block win rate. So I don't think the Bengals D-line should cause too much of a problem to the Packers. Packers offensive line this week. If things from the past few games show up in this next game, obviously things can change quickly. But I think that this Packers offensive line should be able to hold up once again. And if we take a look at the Packers or the Bengals defense so far this year, they have been pretty solid. They've actually been a top 10 defense. They've been the eighth best scoring defense, allowing only 18.8 points per game. And they've actually been 5th in yards per play allowed, only allowing 4.8 yards per play. But if you take a look at the competition they face Kirk Cousins, a mix of Andy Dalton and Justin Fields, Ben Roethlisberger, and Trevor Lawrence. So I'd say Aaron Rodgers is head and shoulders over all of those guys. And so I think that even though the Bengals have been good up to this point, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a great game. And I think the Packers are going to need him to have a great game just because this defense, I think, could struggle against the Bengals offense, as I talked about earlier in the video. So my bold prediction, I think this is going to be a big game for Aaron Rodgers, 300-plus yards, 4 touchdowns. I think that's what's going to happen this week. I think they're going to need to keep pace with the Bengals, who I think should put up points in this one. And so my score prediction for this game is going to be Packers 35, Bengals 24. Let me know your score predictions down in the comments below, but that's going to be it for this one. Hopefully the Packers can come in here, play well, and dominate on Sunday. But thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you guys have not subscribed. I think like 50% of people watching the videos are not subscribed. So if you want to, feel free to subscribe to the channel down below. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.